use your energy to worry. Use your energy to believe, create, trust, grow, and heal. Focus on the good stuff. It's way more powerful than worrying. You yourself know overthinking is messing you up. Now is the time you take action and work on it.
Hello my loves, welcome back to my channel, and if you're new, I'm Roxy and I'm so happy to have you here. In today's video, I'll be sharing with you how to be unbothered AF because let us face it, in a world that demands our energy, attention, and our reactions, it is so easy to feel overwhelmed and emotionally drained. Or you know what? Plain just bothered with everyone and everything. But hear me out, what if you can learn to protect your peace and stop letting the outside noise control your inner calm? In today's video, I'll be sharing with you 7 powerful mindset shifts to completely move away from that hot and bothered feeling to move more into your unbothered AF era. This is going to help you stay grounded, confident, and unshakable in the midst of all of the emotional turmoil and noise around us. You know how we do it here? Let us deep dive into number 1, which is to never say more than necessary. We need to stop oversharing. We need to stop over-explaining ourselves. Because when you overshare and you over-explain, you leave room for misinterpretation, judgment, manipulation even, as well as misunderstanding. When you speak less, it creates a certain mystery, it creates boundaries, and very importantly, it keeps your energy protected. You need to be intentional with your words and avoid over-explaining, oversharing, or even trying to justify yourself, because sometimes we fall into that trap where we feel the need that we literally have to explain something, we need to justify ourselves, when in reality we actually don't. By speaking less, you give others less emotional access to yourself. You're literally able to protect your peace without giving everything away. So here's an example, and a very popular example, and I know you can relate to this. In a disagreement, instead of trying to over-explain, justify yourself, trying so hard and fighting it down to make the other person see your point, you can literally take a step back and say, you know what, I understand your point, let's agree to disagree, and just shut it down immediately without having to get so bothered, so disturbed, without having your peace of mind just completely in chaos. You can just take the step back and say that. It's a very simple way to just shut something down, being respectful at the same time, as well as respecting your own boundaries. Another example is if someone is trying to find out your business and they really are prying into a personal matter that you're not ready to share, a simple yet powerful way that you can respond is by saying, I'm still working through that. That's it. It is very unlikely that someone is going to poke and prod you to find out more if you say something like that. Again, respectful, it's tactful while still protecting your peace. You also need to learn to say no without giving an explanation. So for instance, if you're unable to attend something or if you're unable to help with something and someone asks you why, you can simply say that I'm not available. You need to say it without guilt and without going further to divulge anything else, because no is an answer enough. There is no need to continue going into it and harping on it and explaining yourself and justifying yourself and just saying too much. There's no reason for all of that. Just say that simple line and that is it. Let your words carry weight on its own. Something else that we need to take under this topic of never saying more than necessary is letting your success do the talking. You do not need to announce every move, and I know sometimes a lot of us might fall into this, but we need to regroup and regain ourselves and realize that there is no need to announce every move that we're making, because quiet progress is progress nonetheless. Always remember that results and consistency will always speak louder than bragging and all of these big announcements. You need to focus on doing the work instead of broadcasting your every move. When you let your results speak for themselves, you give yourself credibility and you keep your power. Not sharing everything also helps to keep momentum going, because think about it, and I'm sure you can relate sometimes when you may have told someone something, they may have started to criticize you, doubt you, and in return you start feeling that self-doubt that you never had before. It gives unwanted opinions that slow you down, create pressure, or even attract negativity or make you feel embarrassed when things fall through, because sometimes not everything is going to work out, and that is just the realistic nature of life. But it will save you a lot. It will protect your peace. It will save you that embarrassment if you try something and you fail in private versus making the announcements, doing the whole bragging thing, and then it falls through. Quiet confidence confidence builds momentum without the outside noise and judgments, because you don't have to constantly prove yourself or explain your vision to someone else. It also builds respect, because people will take you more seriously, and again, you will build that credibility, you will gain that respect when you show up with the receipts. Can you imagine? Maybe it is opening your side business and you kind of keep it private, you share it with only one or two very close people in your life who you can trust, and then one day you just show up and you open your side business and you have all the receipts, it's there. You didn't need to make announcements or make a big deal about it before. You moved in silence, away from all of the distractions, people's unwanted opinions, and let people see the outcome, not the behind the scenes process of what is going on. Because I know that you must have heard about the evil eye, whatever you want to call it. A lot of times, people are not wishing for your success. They are wanting to see you fall. And every time you make that announcement, every time you share something, people are going to be sending all of their dirty, nasty energy your way, and you do not want that in your life. So here's a little example. Instead of posting every single gym session that you go to, or everything that you're doing to maybe lose weight or tone up, whatever is your personal goal, instead of posting all of the behind the scenes, you can literally just come out one day and post your transformation picture, and that is in itself the receipt. You can literally show the progress after all of the consistency while working in private. A huge one that I personally stand by now, because I've made this mistake many times before. When you're dating someone new, keep it private while it's still blossoming. Don't share anything on social media. Don't tease about it. Just keep it private until it is actually something that is stable in your life, so that way you don't have to have everyone in your business, you don't have to have everyone's opinions, you don't have to have anyone's input in this very new phase of your life. By all means, you can hard launch when it is very solid versus when things are a bit uncertain. Something else you might not want to do is share your money goals or share your finances or share anything like that. You can work towards financial freedom. You can pay off any debt in private and let your financial peace show in your freedom. Always remember that quiet confidence is magnetic. The less you explain yourself, the more powerful you become. And I just simply adore this example because I play chess. So I know, hear me out, stay with me, you guys. In the game of chess, if you've ever played it, you make your moves quietly. All your thoughts are to yourself. The only time that you ever speak in chess is to say checkmate. And I feel like if that is just a perfect example for life, we need to live life as if we were playing chess. Don't broadcast your intentions or your moves. Let your results be your checkmate. Number 2, lower expectations from others. This is a big one. And if we can master this, it will be a key to helping us stay unbothered in circumstances where we really may have expected too much and then it fell short and we are left feeling disappointed. Expecting people to behave as you would will only set you up for disappointment. It is way more healthier to come to terms with the fact that people have different capabilities, different priorities, as well as values. Do not expect people to meet your standards the same way that you would. We need to all do ourselves a favor and let go of unrealistic hope. I am sure that we have all felt at some point that we have expected too much and it led to chronic disappointment, and we are not about that life anymore. You have to realize that you can't control what others do, what they say, how they act. You're not in control of any of those things. When you lower your expectations, you are less likely to feel hurt or blindsided. You need to stop giving people power over your emotions. Accept them as they are and adjust your emotional investment to suit. So some examples: stop expecting your friends to check in with them as much as you may do. Instead, appreciate the times that they do check in and the effort that they might make in other circumstances and situations. When you're at work, don't assume that your co-workers are going to praise you for projects that you may be working on, or maybe the extra effort that you may be putting into a project. Instead, just document it and use that for your own personal growth, but don't expect that they would treat you the same way that you would treat them, because again, it leads to that chronic disappointment. Number 3, everyone will have their own opinions. If you have 10 people, you have 10 opinions. Stop people pleasing. This is a big one. People will always have something to say. Literally, there will be no point in time in your life where you will do something and you will have positive opinions from every single person. Someone, somewhere along the line, is going to have a little criticism here or there. If you try to please everyone you meet, you are going to lose yourself in the process. Pleasing everyone at the expense of your own needs leads to burnout, and it leads to resentment. Because a lot of times when you focus on making someone else happy and doing everything that they want, and you put yourself on a back burner, that resentment is going to start creeping in. It is going to start building up because you are going to realize that you are putting aside your happiness, the things that you want to do to please someone else, and that is going to make you start harboring those not so good feelings. Trying to please everyone is a game that you will never win at. It literally is the definition of a losing game. What one person loves, someone else will hate. And the same goes for what you like, someone else is not going to like. It is impossible to win them all. And you need to remember that people's opinions change constantly. And chasing approval is exhausting and unstable because, again, people's opinions are fickle. You might like something today and you might not like it tomorrow. The same goes for anyone else. When you bend to every expectation, you literally lose yourself because you lose sight of your identity. You don't know what you like anymore because you're so caught up doing something that someone else likes. If someone likes green on you, you might think you like green on you when instead you like pink on you. That is a little funny example, but it can literally translate into bigger and more serious things. You find peace by living according to your own values. If someone approves of what you're doing, consider that as a bonus versus making it your goal to have someone else's approval. So here are some examples. Wear what you love, even if it's too much to someone else. Dress how you want. If you want to wear bold colors, wear that. If you want to have a boho vibe, go with that. If you want to dress in neutrals, you do you, boo. Stop worrying about what is appropriate and stop worrying about what is on trend, because for God's sake, trends are coming back that have been out of style for like decades now. If a family member or family friend disapproves of what you wear, what you eat, where you go, what you're doing with your own life, who you're dating, respectfully, they can keep their opinions to themselves. Again, it goes back to the let's agree to disagree. You can acknowledge their view, but you need to stick what aligns to your values. If this same goes for if you choose to live in a way that makes sense to you, maybe you're a minimalist, and maybe you are just someone who loves the outdoors and you have that whole hippie vibe. Maybe you are soft spoken, maybe you want to wear your hair a certain way, maybe you want tattoos. Whatever the case may be, do what is authentic to yourself. Stop altering your voice, your tone, just to show up or just to fit in. You need to realize that you need to show up as you are with the confidence knowing that you're not going to be everyone's cup of tea, and that is okay. Always choose authenticity over approval. Number 4, don't allow your emotions to overpower your intelligence. And again, this is something that we're probably so familiar with in our lives. I'm sure you can think about an example right now where you let your emotions cloud your judgment. It got the best of you and you ended up making not the best choices. Your emotions are valid. Let's not deny that. But when they take over, they can cloud your judgment, as we mentioned before. Staying calm allows you to react thoughtfully instead of reacting impulsively. You need to manage your reactions, feel your emotions, but honey, do not let them dictate your actions or your words. This is so important because emotional outbursts can damage relationships, friendships, family, reputations, or opportunities. And many times acting on impulse leads to regrets. Emotional discipline helps you to think clearly and make better decisions. It helps you to depersonalize criticism, and that is just a fancy way of saying it prevents you from shrinking yourself to avoid any negative attention. It literally shifts that power back to you. You are in control now. Always remember that other people cannot make you say something. Other people can't make you do something. Other people can't make you act a certain way. The control is yours and you need to take that power back. So here are some practical examples I know you can relate to. The first one is to pause before sending that angry text. Take a few deep breaths, go for a walk, and then reply with clarity versus the rage or the anger, the resentment, whatever negative emotion that you might feel as a result of something or someone. Instead of crying or yelling during conflict, take the time to write things down and process your thoughts so that you can speak clearly instead of letting those crying and angry emotions overwhelm the entire conversation. And the third little example is to never, ever, ever, ever make decisions when you're angry or when you're hurt, because those decisions will never be a true reflection of yourself. And again, those decisions might lead to very dire consequences, or even worse, things that you can't undo or words that you can never take back. You need to respond when your mind is clear and when you're calm. Number 5, remember that haters are your fans. Taylor Swift said it best. Haters are just gonna hate, 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 hate. Haters are your fans. The reality of the matter is that people criticize what they secretly admire, envy, or simply they just don't understand. Always remember that hating, and when people hate on you, it says more about them than you. And oftentimes people are triggered by growth, consistency, and confidence. There's a fine line between hateful and petty comments versus constructive criticism. But regardless, you need to always learn to not take hate personally, because it is very rarely ever about you. Most of the times, like literally 99% of the times, it is a reflection of their own insecurity, comparison, or unfulfilled potential. You need to take your power back, which is a theme of this entire video, and you need to shift your mindset from victim to one who holds the power in the situation. Remember, once you take your power back, no one can make you act a certain way, say something, or do something that you'll regret. You are in control, and if you're faced with anything like this, you need to stop shrinking yourself to make others feel comfortable. Stop dimming your light to make other people feel comfortable. It is just not worth it. You need to decide to thrive through all of that noise that you have. So here are some examples, and I know we can relate to these again because they're so just relatable. First one is if a co-worker is constantly nitpicking at your work, it is most of the times a reflection of their own insecurity. They feel like if you're doing better than them, and they feel like if they can't be you, but they want to be you. You know, you feel me? Sometimes people might downplay your wins with backhanded compliments like, oh yeah, that's cute. Or I could never do something like that, but yet they come back quietly, creeping and crawling to try to find out exactly how you did it. In my personal life, a lot of times when I was bullied, especially online, when I now started creating content and making videos, the bullying came from the insecurity that other people had. And I really remember facing such bad bullying very early on. And I've been doing this for over 10 years. And you know what? Years later, some of these very bullies are the ones who ended up trying to be content creators or trying to be influencers and started posting videos and doing all of these things, the very things that they were being so mean and hateful to me about. So a lot of the times, you guys always remember that it is not something that you need to take personally because it does not have anything to do with you. It really does not. It is a reflection on them. It says everything about them. And a lot of the times it stems from jealousy, insecurity, comparison, and whatever else the case may be. Another little way that you can look at it is by thinking that attention is attention at the end of the day. So let it fuel you and not derail you. Number 6, do not be afraid to say no. We touched on this a little bit. We talked about the fact that saying no is an answer on its own. But did you know that saying no is also a form of self-care? Let me tell you why. Saying no is not rude. It is not selfish. Sometimes it is simply a necessity. Protecting your time, energy, and mental peace starts with strong boundaries. Saying no is about honoring your limits, honoring what you're capable of in that moment. And you do not, I repeat, you do not need to explain why you're saying no. You don't need to over-explain yourself like we talked about in detail in the beginning, and you do not need to feel guilty for protecting your peace and your energy. Boundaries prevent resentment and burnouts. Every yes that you say to something that drains you, something that you don't want to, that your heart is not into, is a no to something that you rather be doing. You teach others how to treat you by the limits and boundaries that you set. If you are a people pleaser, if you are a yes person, if you're a doormat, people are going to use you as a doormat. Hello? That is what they're going to do. They're gonna know that you're not gonna respect your own boundaries, that you'll never say no, that you'll always show up, that you'll always help. And at the end of the day, that is gonna make you feel resentment at some point in time. It is gonna drain you. It is not gonna make you feel good about yourself. It is just not the vibe. How you're gonna fix this? You're gonna stop overcommitting. Stop saying yes to everything. Stop going, stop helping, stop attending, doing things out of guilt, doing things that you feel like if you need to because you're afraid to say no. Stop overcommitting and start living on your own terms. And the more you do this, the more you enforce your boundaries, the more you learn to say no without feeling guilty or having to explain yourself, eventually you're going to realize that your peace of mind will be your default. It is going to always be what you think about first versus being an afterthought. I know we touched on some examples before, but I wanted to give a little bit more. So first up is saying no to last minute plans when you originally wanted to have a day or maybe an evening or a night where you wanted to rest and reset. Again, your peace of mind is your priority. It is your default. It is not your afterthought. This one can be really big, especially in work, for instance, and that is to decline and say no to unpaid work or even underpaid opportunities, especially if they do not align with your goals. It's just not going to be worth it because, again, it's going to cause resentment at some point in time. This last example might be a little tricky, but I know we can relate to it, and that is saying no to family gatherings that might make you feel emotionally drained, where it might not be worth it, especially when it comes to your peace of mind and your boundaries. I will always say this, and that is saying no to something will always leave space for saying yes to something better, something that you actually want to do. And last one, number 7, is to stop having the need to be perfect. Stop aspiring to be perfect because there's no such thing. I did an entire video on this. I went into so much depth and detail into it about perfectionism leading to procrastination. I will have that video linked in if you want an entire video on this on how to break that toxic cycle. But I will touch on this because it is such a key way in helping you to stay unbothered AF. Perfectionism often disguises itself as being high standards, when in reality, it literally is the furthest thing from that. It is really a fear of failure, judgment, as well as not being good enough. When you strive to be perfect, when you strive for flawlessness, you delay action, which is basically how procrastination comes into play. And you constantly feel as if you're falling short. And that procrastination, because you're trying to be perfect and flawless, is going to lead you to not doing anything at all. It's not going to get you anywhere. Perfectionism is the enemy of progress. Think about it. If you are constantly occupied with trying to get everything right and trying to make it perfect on the first try, chances are you're not going to make any progress because you're not going to do anything. It keeps you stuck, fearful, and exhausted. At the end of the day, real growth and progress comes from taking messy and imperfect action. Progress builds confidence. You learn and improve by doing, not waiting for the perfect time, because there's no such thing as the perfect time. So here's a little example that is so practical to our lives, and that is starting a new habit. Even if you miss a few days, consistency is better than perfection. If you made plans to get in 10K steps every single day and a few days you fell short of this, maybe it was like 5K steps, celebrate those wins because at least you walked, at least effort was made. Consistency over perfection always. That is going to give you the momentum to keep moving forward. Celebrate these small wins. Celebrate showing up for yourself. Celebrate when you actually do something versus not doing it at all. A lot of times we might set this very, very high standard, and then when we fall short, we just don't want to do it anymore. We give up on making the bare minimum steps that we know we should be doing. We give up on meal prepping. We just give up. Take that selfie. Go to the event. Wear that outfit. Stop waiting for things like the perfect summer body or the perfect time to do something, or when you lose a certain amount of weight, or when you get this, or when you get that. Stop waiting for those times. We are the youngest that we'll ever be in this very moment. The worst thing is to look back on your life and have so many regrets of things that you did not do, all because you wanted it to be perfect, or you were waiting for the perfect time or the perfect body or the perfect moment. There is no such thing. You'll end up just regretting so much things that you could have done. Something else can be having your friends over, even if your place is not completely spick and span. If it's messy, focus on the connections that you're making with your friends. Focus on the fun and the memories and the moments that you're having versus how untidy your place may be looking, because a lot of the times no one is literally going to give a shit. Always remember that progress builds momentum to keep you going forward, whereas perfection literally kills progress and it leads to procrastination, and you don't get anywhere or do anything. I hope that you enjoyed this video and these 7 powerful ways and strategies on how to be unbothered AF. Take your power back and be in control of your own emotions. Thumbs this video up if you enjoyed it and if it helped you in any way, and it also means so much to me when you do that. Also, don't forget to subscribe so you won't miss anything else that I have planned coming your way. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye! Mwah.